Myles Garrett, not practicing Wednesday with an ankle issue, is the kind of headline that immediately raises red flags for any Browns fan who pays attention to what matters in the NFL: availability of your best players. Garrett is not just another defensive starter. He's the centerpiece of Cleveland's pass rush, the pressure creator who changes blocking schemes, forces attention, and opens opportunities for every other defender on the roster. Losing even a down or two of Garrett's presence in a single game can materially alter both the schematic approach and the outcome. First, let's be clear about what's been reported and what that typically means. The team announced Garrett would be day-to-day and did not practice on Wednesday. That's the classic "we're treating it with caution" language. Day-to-day means the staff believes the issue isn't season-ending right now, but it does not guarantee Sunday availability. For a high-impact player like Garrett, coaching staffs often employ a conservative approach in practice to avoid aggravating an injury, while still targeting a game day return if the recovery goes well. The real determinants, how Garrett moves in non-contact work later in the week, his response to treatment, anti-inflammatory measures, taping, boots, etc., and how he feels once full activity begins. Why an ankle matters so much for Garrett. Garrett's game is built on explosion, plant and rip moves, and sudden change of direction at the point of attack. Ankle stability and the ability to plant and explode are non-negotiable for a pass rusher who wins with hand usage and leverage. Even a mild ankle sprain can sap the burst off his initial step, reduce his bend around the edge, and make finishing on the quarterback far more difficult. The difference between Garrett at 100% and Garrett at 85 to 90% is not minor. It can be the difference between generating a pass rush win and being a neutralized, easily blocked presence. The strategic ripple effect on the defense. Cleveland's defense has been built around Garrett being the threat that commands double teams and attention. When he's fully available, offenses must account for his rush lane with touches, chips, or slides, which frees up teammates one-on-one and allows for creative stunts and blitz packages. If Garrett is limited or inactive, the Browns can no longer assume opponents will neutralize him in every set. That forces schematic adjustments, more reliance on rotation. The Browns will depend more heavily on their depth, rotational defensive ends and interior linemen, to produce pressure and collapse the pocket. Rotational guys can give bursts, but rarely replicate Garrett's sustained ability to single-handedly win reps. Expect increased snap shares for the interior and second-tier edge rushers. Scheme tweaks, more blitzing and disguised pressure. With Garrett's one-on-one threat reduced, coordinators often compensate by sending additional rushers from linebacker or the slot to create false keys and mismatches. That increases the need for disciplined coverage and can create vulnerability in the intermediate zones. More stunt work and inside-out pressure. The Browns may elect to bring more interior push and spin the rush to create lanes rather than relying on speed to power on the edge. That can help generate pressures, but also risks exposing lanes in the run game, depending on personnel. And who needs to step up? The obvious question is, who fills the void? Cleveland will need more from everyone in the front seven. Rotation ends, 3 techniques, and interior gap eaters who can occupy blockers while linebackers and safeties stunt. It's not just about sacks, it's about generating consistent pressure to prevent the quarterback from surfing the pocket. Guys who can win early and collapse the pocket will be worth their weight in gold. Pressure up front shortens throws, limits yards after catch, and helps an otherwise suspect secondary. For the Browns coaches, this is a test of depth and coaching ingenuity. If Garrett is unable to give full snaps, expect to see creative blitzes from the second level to simulate Garrett's impact, heavy use of run-pass conflict packages to keep opposing offenses guessing, more conservative personnel groupings in run defense to compensate for missing an explosive edge presence. Matchup context versus Minnesota. The Vikings matchup in London complicates matters. The Browns are preparing to face either J.J. McCarthy or Carson Wentz, depending on availability and health. Both present different looks. McCarthy is a young, more mobile playmaker. Wentz is a veteran who manages the pocket but can be beatable under pressure. Garrett's ability to collapse the pocket is especially valuable against mobile or accurate quarterbacks because it forces quicker decisions and makes rollout plays less effective. If Garrett's production dips, the Browns' pass rush becomes more of a team effort. Schemes that previously relied on Garrett creating one-on-one mismatches will require the complementary pressure to come from blitzers and interior stunts. That can work, but it increases variance. Blitz-heavy approaches leave coverage vulnerable if the offense picks up pressure and gains chunk plays downfield. Offensive side consequences for the Browns. There's another angle off the field to consider: the offense. The Browns have struggled to produce points this season, and losing Garrett even temporarily can create a feedback loop. Without consistent pressure on opposing QBs, Cleveland's offense may be forced to play from behind more often, which gives the opponent the chance to run clock, preserve leads, and make matchups unfavorable. Conversely, with Garrett disrupting quarterbacks, the offense can operate with shorter fields and better momentum. It's all interconnected. Longer-term considerations and roster management. Garrett is under a massive contract extension, and the Browns invested in him to be a multi-year cornerstone. Short-term management matters given the long season. If the staff can protect his long-term health by limiting practice reps and letting him play through the ankle when safe, that's usually the right call. But there are risks. Playing through a sprain can lead to chronic issues if not handled properly, and the Browns have to weigh the immediate need, a winnable London game, against preserving his availability for the rest of the season. What the Browns should do this week and from a practical standpoint, the Browns should: one, let Garrett dictate his availability. If he can't plant and cut with confidence, don't force him into game action. 2, prepare multiple game plans: one for Garrett full go, one for limited Garrett snaps, and one if he's inactive. That includes a mix of standard rush sets, more blitzes, and coverage adjustments. 3, ramp up other pass rushers in schematic roles that play to their strengths: stunts, inside pressure, or loopers, rather than asking them to replicate Garrett's skill set. 4, emphasize quick-hitting run game and play action to keep the Vikings off rhythm if pass pressure will be down. Bottom line, Garrett's ankle is a story to watch. He's the single most important non-quarterback on the Browns, and his availability swings the team's ceiling and floor. If he's healthy enough to go on Sunday, the Browns' chances of competitive football spike. If he's limited or out, Kevin Stefanski and the defensive staff must improvise, and the burden will fall on depth players to produce. Either way, how the Browns manage Garrett this week will tell you a lot about their medical staff's risk tolerance and their confidence in the supporting cast. Browns get bad Myles Garrett update before facing Vikings. The Cleveland Browns are heading into their Week 5 London showdown with uncertainty after a Wednesday update revealed star pass rusher Myles Garrett won't practice because of an ankle issue. Coach Kevin Stefanski listed Garrett, ankle, and right tackle Jack Conklin, elbow, as day-to-day, with Conklin expected to be limited and Garrett unavailable for that practice, according to Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com. That's worrying news for a defense that lives and dies by Garrett's availability. The 29-year-old defensive end has been elite this season, producing consistent pressure, recording 4 sacks through 4 games, and serving as the Browns' primary game wrecker on pass downs. When Garrett's on the field, opposing coordinators must account for him on every snap. When he's not, the whole pass rush plan changes. The timing couldn't be worse. Cleveland faces a Vikings team that will likely rely on a conservative game plan in London, but still one that can punish a suddenly weakened front. Even if Minnesota turns to a backup quarterback, Garrett's absence would remove the Browns' best one-on-one mismatch and force coordinator Jim Schwartz to generate pressure more creatively with stunts, blitzes, and rotation, tactics that can expose a defense over the course of a game. What Cleveland must consider now: depth and rotations. The Browns will need others to step up in Garrett's place. More snaps for interior rushers, cross-front pressures, and heavier usage of situational pass rushers. The club's second-level defenders and linebackers must play stout to give the pass rush time to get home. Offensive implications. Losing Conklin or seeing him limited could also hobble the Browns' offense. Protecting the quarterback and establishing a run game become even more critical if the offensive line is shorthanded. Conservative management. Given Garrett's history of playing through knocks, the Browns will have to balance short-term urgency with long-term availability. An ankle issue for a speed and explosion rusher is not trivial. Pushing him back too soon risks diminished effectiveness or re-injury. Stefanski's day-to-day wording leaves room for optimism. Garrett has a track record of gutting through injuries, but the Browns and their fans should prepare for the realistic possibility Cleveland will have to win in London without its best defensive weapon. Expect more clarity later in the week as the team issues updated practice reports and a game day decision approaches.